A poor Filipino girl walked onto the AGT stage with nothing but courage in her heart. And within minutes, the entire world fell silent. What happened next shocked even Simon Cowell. In a small coastal town in the Philippines, where narrow streets twisted between wooden homes, and a salty breeze carried the laughter of children playing by the shore, there was a young girl named Jessica. She was quiet, humble, and always seen walking barefoot, carrying a small cloth bag that held her notebooks and a borrowed pencil for most people in her community. Life was a daily struggle, but for Jessica, who lived with her grandmother, after losing her parents at a young age, survival itself felt like a test from the universe. Yet hidden behind her shy smile was a voice that belonged on a world-class stage. From the moment she could speak, she could sing, her grandmother often said. Her voice was a blessing sent from heaven, a gift powerful enough to turn sadness into hope. Neighbors would gather outside their home. Whenever she sang during evening prayers, her melodies echoing between the bamboo walls, like soft light cutting through darkness. But Jessica never imagined this gift could take her anywhere. Beyond her village, she didn't dream big, because dreaming big felt expensive. But destiny, as it often does, had a way of finding even the most hidden stars. One hot afternoon, an old radio in the nearby Sorry store played an announcement about AGT 2025 holding open auditions around the world. The sound of the words "America's Got Talent" made the children in the store jump with excitement. But Jessica just kept walking, her sandals hanging from her fingers. She knew shows like that were for people with money, confidence, and opportunities. Things she believed she didn't have. But fate took an unexpected turn when a foreign volunteer group visited her town for a community event. One of them recorded Jessica singing a local lullaby while she swept the small community hall. The video, raw and unedited, captured her gentle yet powerful vibrato, her emotion, and her humble smile. Without telling her, the volunteer uploaded it online, and within days, it went viral. People around the world shared comments, saying her voice felt like a warm embrace, and her story deserved a chance. And then the unexpected happened. AGT staff contacted the volunteer group, asking if Jessica would audition for the show. When Jessica heard the news, she froze. The idea of traveling to another country terrified her. But her grandmother held her hands and whispered, "Anik blessings do not knock twice. Go and show the world the voice God gave you." The days leading to her trip were surreal. For the first time in her life, she rode an airplane, her eyes glued to the window, as the world beneath her shrank into clouds. When she arrived in Los Angeles, everything felt like a dream. Tall buildings, glowing billboards, and people rushing in every direction. The AGT studio was brighter and bigger than anything she had ever imagined. While other contestants chatted confidently, Jessica stood alone in a corner, hugging her grandmother's old handkerchief that she kept tucked in her pocket. For courage, she could feel her heartbeat pounding. As stage managers rushed around, contestants rehearsed loudly, and cameras flashed everywhere. She whispered small prayers, remembering the promise she made to her grandmother, to stay humble, to stay brave, and to sing not for fame, but from the heart. When her number was finally called, her legs trembled, but she walked toward the stage, as if guided by something bigger than fear. The moment Jessica stepped into the spotlight, the crowd noticed her small frame, her simple clothes, and the nervous look in her eyes. Simon Cowell leaned forward. Curious, Heidi and Sophia smiled gently at her. Sensing her fear, Terry Crews stood backstage watching closely, as if he could feel the heaviness of her journey. When Simon asked her name and where she came from, her voice cracked slightly as she replied, "My name is Jessica, and I'm from the Philippines." He then asked what brought her to AGT, and she took a deep breath before saying, "I want to sing not for myself, but for my Lola, who believes I can do anything." The audience softened instantly, and then the music began, a gentle piano intro that filled the hall with anticipation. Jessica closed her eyes, remembering the nights she sang by candlelight, and let her soul pour out. The very first note echoed like a trembling ribbon of gold, soft, emotional, pure. The entire theater fell silent within seconds. As Jessica continued, her voice grew stronger, richer, and filled with a kind of ache that only a life of hardship could shape. The notes climbed effortlessly, soaring to emotional peaks that made the judges exchange astonished glances. Many audience members wiped their eyes, moved not only by her performance, but by the authenticity in every word she sang. Simon slowly lowered his pen. Heidi placed a hand over her heart. Sophia whispered "wow" under her breath. By the time Jessica reached the final high note, her voice broke ever so slightly. Not out of weakness, but because she poured every memory, every pain, and every hope into it. When the last note faded, The theater erupted into a standing ovation. The applause was thunderous, stretching far longer than most standing ovations. Had that season, Jessica looked overwhelmed, her hands shaking, tears welling. But she had no idea. The moment she had only dreamed of was seconds away. Simon Cowell leaned closer to his microphone, his voice softer than usual. "Jessica, I don't think you realize how incredible you are," he said. "Your voice touched every single person in this room. And your story, your courage. You are the reason this show exists." The crowd cheered, chanting her name. Jessica pressed her hands to her chest, trying to hold in her tears. Heidi praised her purity and emotional power. Sophia called her performance a miracle of the heart. But while the praise felt like a dream, nothing prepared Jessica for what happened next. Simon stood up from his seat, looked directly into her eyes, and without breaking the moment, he reached out his hand toward the golden buzzer. The entire audience screamed. Jessica gasped, stepping backward in disbelief. And then Simon hit the golden buzzer. Golden confetti burst from the ceiling, falling around Jessica like a shower of blessings. She covered her face as tears streamed down. Simon walked onto the stage, something he rarely did, and gave her a hug. He told her, "You deserve the world." Never stopped singing. Jessica looked up at the raining confetti, her heart feeling lighter than it had in years. She thought of her grandmother, of her small home by the sea, of the nights she doubted herself. And now here she was on the world's biggest stage, receiving the highest honor possible. Terry Crews joined her, lifting her hand like a champion, shouting, "Jessica is going to the live shows." The audience roared with support, chanting her name as the cameras captured her emotional reaction. After the auditions, Jessica's golden buzzer moment spread across the world. Millions watched her clip online, praising her humility, her strength, and her phenomenal voice. Filipinos everywhere celebrated her achievement, proud to see another talent from their country shine. Internationally, interviewers invited her, news channels featured her story, and fans sent her messages, saying she inspired them to believe in themselves again. But through all the attention, Jessica remained grounded. She called her grandmother every night, telling her how much she missed home and how grateful she was for the chance she had been given. Her grandmother always replied with the same words, "Anik, you are meant for greatness. Just keep your heart pure." As Jessica prepared for the next stages of the competition, she carried with her the same cloth bag, the same handkerchief, and the same humble spirit she had from the beginning. She knew her journey was far from over, but she also knew she was no longer the shy girl, afraid to dream she had been seen, heard and celebrated by millions. And most importantly, she had proven to herself that even a poor girl from a forgotten corner of the world could stand on the grandest stage and shine like a star. Her golden buzzer moment was not the end of her story. It was the beginning of a future she never thought possible, one built on courage, faith, and a voice powerful enough to change her life forever.
Thanks for watching. Please like our video to support us and subscribe for more interesting videos. Thanks.